Goddess Shakti asks God Shiva to share a story which will comfort everyone in times of turbulence. And God Shiva narrates the story of Ramayana, the story of Ram and Sita. Hello everyone, I'm Jaswin and welcome to my channel Jaswin Reads, where we don't just read books, sometimes we allow them to read us. Today I bring to you a book by Devdutt Pattanaik, Sita, a retelling of Ramayana. We all have grown up listening to Ramayana in television serials, YouTube channels, and most importantly, in temples and stories narrated by our grandparents. And each has been a different version. There are around 10 to 20 different versions of Ramayana that you would have heard. The Jain version, the Buddhist, the Tamil version, the Ayodhya version. Every version of Sita, every version of Ramayana is different. From all of these versions, the one common thing is that the entire Ramayana actually revolves around with one central character, which is Lord Ram. And today we're going to switch the sides and we're going to put Sita as a central character and see how does Ramayana revolve with Sita as a main character. With Sita as the main character in the Ramayana, let's understand how does stillness, strength, resilience, silence, letting go actually bring power to all of us. Sita Ramasya Dharma Patni Shanta Sehenshila Dharmanishtha. These beautiful lines talk about Sita is Ram's righteous wife, calm, patient and firmly rooted in Dharma. Devdutt Pattanaik in this book isn't just writing Ramayana. He is reframing it from the lens of Sita, from the lens of how she viewed the world. He is not adding any drama or twist in this entire book. He is actually shifting the sides and the lens from this angle to that angle. We have seen the versions of Ramayana being spoken about from different parts of India. So within India itself, there are around 10 to 20 different versions of Ramayana that we would have seen. And the brilliance of this book is that it tells us that mythology is not fixed, it is fluid. And it actually tells us that when we look at from a lens the story which is told, the story can change and the meanings can also change. So let's look at few of the lessons. And now, because here I'm talking about the most revered Granth of the Hindu religion, which is Ramayana, I have my notes and I'm going to refer my notes because I do not want to give any wrong understanding and wrong interpretation from this most revered Granth that we have in our culture. The feminine energy of Sita. This retelling frame of Sita is not as a victim but as a warrior. It reframes her as an aware person, as someone who's anchored and who is deeply alive in the rhythms of life. So when Sita has to follow Lord Ram into the Vanvas, into the forests for years together, she is deeply aware of her surroundings. She's deeply aware and living there along with her husband and looking at the things that how she can bring alignment into her life. Pattanaik actually talks about Ram as an outward action and Sita as an inner awareness. So if we have to imbibe Ram and Sita in our life, it would be for me my outward actions like how Ram would do, and my inner awareness as how Sita would do it. Ram upholds rules because for him it's the dharma. And when we talk about dharma is all about the rules that we would do and we would follow and we would uphold. Sita upholds relationships. Who would want to follow their husband into the forest right after getting married? And that too for 14 long years. And that's what Sita did. So when it's about relationships, it's Sita that we can learn lessons from her. Ram is about seeking control and managing things in daily life, whereas Sita is about trusting the flow. Even when Sita was abducted by Ravan, she trusted the flow that yes, one day I will be taken back by Ram and Ram will be here to come and protect me. So she went with the flow. So Ram is about upholding the rules. Sita is about the inner awareness. Ram is about controlling and managing things in life. And Sita is about going with the flow. Before we move ahead, why don't you reflect on certain things in your life and understand that what are those things where you are Ram-like and what are those things in your life where you are Sita-like. And we need these two philosophies in our life, to be like Ram and to be like Sita. Now these are my interpretations. This is how I view Ramayana. Sita's strength lies in stillness. Now how does that happen? She is not a huge rebel. In fact, her strength lies in presence and stillness. Her stillness during her abduction, her time when she was actually living in the kingdom of Lanka, and later in her life, she was not passive. She was deeply aware of what is happening in her life. When I look at these aspects of Sita's life, I ask myself questions that am I deeply aware of all of my surroundings? Am I deeply aware of what is happening in my life? In Lanka, she refuses Ravan's offers time and again, not with rage, but with dignity. She uses a lot of dignity. She uses a lot of stillness there. She doesn't try to manipulate. She simply remains rooted in who she is, in what she is. In today's day and age, how much do you and I remain rooted in our values, in who we are, in what we are? Sita waits for Ram to come to Lanka, but her waiting is not weakness. It is witnessing. It is her own witnessing of her own strength. Dharma is not the same for everyone. The way you would view Dharma would be different from the way I would view Dharma. And the same is for Ram and Sita. Ram's Dharma is to his people, to Ram Rajya, to the kingdom that he rules. It is to be a fair king, and even at a personal cost. And this is what I have learned even in leadership lessons in the current new age. At times, leaders have to pay a personal cost when they have to be there for their people. Now, Sita's dharma is to herself, and that is to be compassionate and to the truth that isn't always legalistic. Every time, truth is not visible to the eyes, and Sita stands to her truth. Her truth is not what should be done. Her truth is what should be felt. Sita talks about the emotions, the feelings, and what I learned from Sita is emotional intelligence. With all these emotions going on in the head, in my mind, in my brain, in my heart, and that's what Sita went through. It wasn't easy for her to be away from her husband, to be away from Ram, and be in the captivity of Ravan. And she still remained with dignity. So her dharma was to be about more how she can be felt, what should be felt. It's a very powerful lesson in the complexity of morality and how can one act and can be both right and wrong depending on who's experiencing it. There have been instances where I would have discussed Ramayana with my friends and people would pick sides. Either they would pick sides with Ram or they would pick sides with Sita. And at times even I have fallen into that trap of taking sides. But when you look at from a dharma perspective, Ram had his own dharma to the people. Sita had her own dharma, and it depends on which way you look at it from. And then you would feel that that person is right. Stories can evolve. We've heard a lot of retelling of Ramayana, different versions of Ramayana from different parts of India. And stories keep evolving, generations after generations, eras after eras. And that is so true even for humans, that we can also evolve. If stories evolve, we as humans can also evolve. How have you evolved in the last so many decades of your own life? How have you evolved from your past traumas of life? How have you evolved from who you were to how you want to be going ahead? How have you evolved from your past to your current present? What is it different that you are doing? In these different versions of Ramayana, there are different versions of Sita as well. In some versions, Sita is a warrior. She's a mother of twins born in different ways, or even someone who walks away from Ram entirely. There are these different versions. And it reminded me that stories and identities are not fixed. We can choose what to carry forward. You can choose what to carry forward. And we can write the narrative. You can write the narrative of your life. Culture actually hands us down a script. Now, it is up to us not to follow it blindly. There are a lot of these cultural things that happen around us, and we pick only the things that resonate with us and that we could relate with. The end of the book is quite emotional. Sita, after being doubted one last time, returns to the earth. It may sound like surrender, but it is actually her final assertion of autonomy. She doesn't plead, she doesn't argue, she just chooses to be whole with or without Ram. And that is something which I really admire, because that is a huge strength. That was a huge, bold step that she took when she returns to the earth. And it made me realize that leaving isn't always an escape. Sometimes it is alignment with what I want and with what I believe to be true. This book changed me. It helped me see that Sita was never silent. She was listening, observing, choosing when and how to speak. It made me rethink the women in my life, my mother, my mother-in-law, the teachers in my life, the friends in my life, my own family members, my sisters-in-law, who shaped entire lives without needing a spotlight. Sita is not a loud book. It doesn't scream at us, but it shifts something in you. If you've always seen the Ramayana from a particular eye that the world has shown, and with central character as Ram, I encourage you to read Sita, where the central character is Sita, and see how Ramayana revolves from Sita's eyes. Trust, surrender, stillness, rebellion. Sita, a retelling of Ramayana by Devdutt Pattanaik. Do share your thoughts on looking at Ramayana from Sita's eyes. Thank you for watching this episode. Like, subscribe, share. Jaswin Reads.